Go by the name of Black Milk, you know, MC, music producer. When I first got into music, in the hip hop, I was MCing at first. It came a time where I came across like, you know, my older cousins like making music on their little cheap, you know, equipment that they had at the time, and I don't know, I just got drawn to that part of it more so than the, you know, stand on the MC side of it. It seemed like I was paying more attention and putting more energy into the production side of it. Little by little, I started off buying their equipment, like buying my older cousins' equipment, like, yo, I'll buy that from you. So let me get, you know, then after that, researching and, you know, what machines do I need? What equipment do I need? And, you know, buying little drum machines here and there, other little samplers. And, you know, I come from like the school of hip hop production, like the Pete Rocks and the Primos and the Jay Dilla. So a lot of my stuff is sample heavy, you know what I'm saying? So I was really into digging for records, you know what I'm saying? Just being at the record store around the neighborhood and spending hours, you know, and hours, sun up, sun down, just on the machine in front of, you know, equipment, just making music. Like, don't even care what's going on in the outside world. And it's still pretty much like that to this day, you know what I'm saying? Just in this room all day long. I was, you know, fortunate enough to have a good ear for music, you know, and if I don't feel like something is right, I'm gonna be like, nah, that's, you know, we gotta change that. Whether it's some singing stuff, whether it's some, like I say, rock stuff, whether it's some hip hop stuff. So I think that's the key of being a good producer, because you got some producers that don't touch any buttons, you know what I'm saying? But like, you know, cats like a Quincy Jones type, you know what I'm saying, where they just have that ear, you know what I'm saying? And they know how to make all the musicians come together and put together the perfect composition. When you're talking about, you know, working with Sean Price or Guilty Simpson, you know, versus working with Jack White, it's just a totally different thing, you know, because we're just in the studio and and it's so fast, you know, we're just banging it out and them guys write pretty quick, so it's just kind of like messing around. And it was even a bigger challenge, like I said, going back to the Jack White thing, because I only had 2 days to come up with something great. Like, and I was like, man, I cannot fail, because if I come out with something, you know, with artists as Jack White caliber, and it's not how it's supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? People's expectations, they're gonna have a certain level of expectations. I kind of gotta meet it. So I feel like we came with 2 great tracks, you know what I'm saying? Album of the year, my last solo record that I put out. You know, I challenged myself to get in the studio with a lot of live musicians and just try to take my hip hop production to another space, another level, you know, versus just it being all drum machine stuff, all sample stuff. I'm like, yo, let me try to recreate some of these samples and let me have some musician cats come in and play on top of what I'm doing on the drum machine, you know what I'm saying? And just try to do something a little different. With the samples, I try to like find samples that, you know, just a lot of rare samples, you know what I'm saying, that it'd be hard for, you know, for the average person to come across. It's a possibility out there that I might find the craziest record I ever heard, you know what I'm saying, whether I'm gonna sample it or not, you know, but just that kind of mentality kind of keeps you always going back to the record store and just looking and just searching for those gems, you know what I'm saying? So, and then for me, like it's not only just about sampling, but it's also about like going to the record store and finding those gems and being able to like, you know, create something and give it to the world, you know, like, yo, listen to this, you know what I'm saying? Just, I kind of look at it as like, not only if I'm calling up one of my friends that's also a collector, it's kind of like, you know, I look at all my fans like that too, like, cause I know they're gonna enjoy if they hear like, yo, I found this crazy record, you know what I'm saying? And I want to share it with them. I love the analog stuff. Even, you know what, even with like, some people might even with this joint right here, man, sometimes, like I just bought this little drum machine, this little Casio RZ1, but it's 12-bit, you know what I'm saying? It gives you that 12-bit sound, so whatever you sample into it, you know, it's gonna put that like 12-bit grit on it. So it was a point where I was spending like some months just sampling drum sounds into this, just to get that 12-bit sound and sampling it back into the MPC and, you know, programming all that stuff. Any place where, you know, I can, you know, have access to music, especially like old records, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm with it, you know. I kind of, it was a point in time where I was kind of, not necessarily against, but I just didn't really get into like digging around digitally because I was so, you know, analog with it. But, you know, I kind of found a lot of jewels on, you know, sites like YouTube. And I started even making YouTube kind of a place where, you know, I dig, just like, you know, I would at the record stores. An app like Shazam is like the greatest for me, man. I love Shazam. Like, and I was just in the clothing store like a few weeks ago and they played something on the system. I'm like, yo, Shazam. I'm just about collecting, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's drum machines or whether it's records, I like that. I like the analog stuff, man, so yeah.